Again.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Trustee Bellinger is absent. Trustee Bukowski? Here. Trustee Guerrero? Here. Trustee Meissen?
Here.
Trustee Colley is absent. Trustee Bercoli?
Here.
President Pridemore?
Here.
Treasurer Stein? Here. And Clerk Vincent is present.
The approval of agenda, I have two additions. Under unfinished business D, tax reimbursement. And under E, salt spreader. Are there any other changes or additions?
Did the fire thing make it?
Fire exhaust fan?
Yeah.
What?
The fire exhaust fan?
Fire department exhaust fan, we sent the email out, said it'll be added to the table. It's not on the agenda.
Okay. Fire exhaust fan. Because I couldn't, for some reason I couldn't hear with that engine.
Will that be unfinished business or new business?
Unfinished. Let's take it under unfinished. No, that would be new. This is under new business.
All three of those?
Because we had talked, no.
Well, yeah. all three.
Yeah, all three of them. Yeah, they do go under new business. So J will be tax reimbursement, K will be salt spreader, and L will be fire department exhaust system. So we need a cough drop?
Yeah, I just got too hot.
Was the street committee meeting added for the street committee?
Just to see if they wanted to get a date, but we can eliminate that from the agenda.
Yeah, I say we remove it.
Yeah, there was a short agenda for our company. Any other changes? We are eliminating the street committee. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public comments on the agenda? Public comment on the agenda? Approval of the minutes?
I have a couple of, well, changes. New business C for the SYO. The RFP was in the discussion, but in his motion, he never actually said the RFP. New business F. Let me see. So the no parking signs, it says discussion only, but he had a motion to remove the signs and install no parking signs in front of the school, and that passed 7-0.
Which one is that? Oh,
New business F.
Yeah, new business F.
New business M, the amount was $3,400.
Hold on, new business F was water policy.
No, the new business H.
Oh, it moved down. No, M.
That's the fire department house.
Yeah, the amount was $3,400. Not to exceed $3,400.
No, but your no parking signs.
Oh. Where it says discussion only.
That's new business H, no
Okay.
parking signs.
Right.
Unfinished business E, Kali abstained. It should be 6-0. And unfinished business G, doesn't list the no votes, which were myself and Farina.
Any other changes?
That's all I have.
Okay. Anyone else? Do I have a vote? Do I have a motion?
Motion to adopt the agenda, or the council meeting minutes as updated, amended.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda?
I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Payment of bills, treasurer report.
For the month of September, payroll totaled $78,525.56. The bills to be paid for October, $489,181.72, for a total of $567,707.28. The village assets total $8,076,471.93.
Any questions?
Make a motion that we pay our bills in the amount of $567,707.28.
Support.
Roll call?
Trustee Meissen?
Yes.
Trustee Bunkowski?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
Trustee Polly?
Yes.
President Pridemore?
Yes. Do I have a motion on the treasurer's report?
I'll move to receive and file the treasurer's report.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Communications committee report. Clerk?
Clerk items for the November, agenda items for the November meeting will be due by October 28th-ish, because we know that financials aren't finished by then. So,
Planning commission report?
The planning commission did not meet in the month of October.
And Parks and Rec report.
Yes, so we have this great thing going on in the community, the Scarecrow contest with businesses, and we've got a lot of feedback and support of it. So by the end of this week, all the Scarecrows should be up. And then we're judging October 29th at our Fall Fest trunk or treat over here at the Community Park. That starts at 7 to 10. Also, we're in the works with Lennox Township together to have a community dinner on Friday, November 18th from 6 to 10. So there's a couple of things that are happening with Parks and Rec in the village that I want you guys to know about.
The trunk or treat, where is that being held?
At the community park.
Community park.
And that's going to start from 7 p. to 10 p. And register your cars and golf carts or whatnot to participate in that.
Yeah, there's a flyer that you put on the site.
Yeah.
Or you put on the site.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll repost. Okay, new business. We have the introduction to the sheriff's deputies.
Hello, I'm Deputy Jeff Robert. I am the new traffic officer on the afternoon shift. I have 22 years of law enforcement. My family lives in Pembroke. We have 4 kids. My youngest son goes to New Haven High School, and my youngest daughter goes to New Haven Elementary. I'm happy to work for this village, and my wife, myself, and my kids love the community and look forward to being here, to be part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Midnight Deputy's not here, but just wanted to introduce Deputy Robert. So, if there's anything else for the Sheriff's Department?
You've made a recommendation that perhaps the midnight car might be better utilized on another shift.
Yep, so I know that when we initially talked about, we analyzed numbers and runs and things like that. The call volume on midnights, obviously it's always good to have another deputy there to back the other deputy up on calls, and he is doing that, and he is committed to traffic policing, running radar, things like that, seeking out, anything going on. Call volume though, depending on what the village wants, if it's just not generating the stats for as far as arrests or citations, the I guess proactive end of it. He is again doing what he's supposed to be doing, patrolling and things like that, and pulling his law and looking all that. I just don't know if the village wanted to pursue a different route, to try a day shift or not. We have to abide by schedules, and when we schedule the deputies and let them know their schedules and stuff like that, so that's why I asked last time if that's something that you wanted to do. We can certainly take it longer and see if it is more beneficial or those numbers change down the road. But again, I just want it to be the most beneficial to the village and make sure that we're addressing the needs of the village and make sure that if there's any issues, they are being addressed and taken care of right away.
Now, historically, we do have sheriff's reports going back a couple of years and more. Do the run numbers tend to go down with the midnight shift when the cold weather comes in?
Yeah.
So the next couple of months, even if we were to, say, well, we want a 6-month look, the numbers are going to go down again. They're going to go down even more.
Probably.
Okay.
So, and again, it's all, you can't predict, I can't predict, you have to have the data, and there could be an uptick in crime, I don't know, I hope not. It seems like it's downward, but, if that's traffic enforcement is something that the village would like to do more, like Deputy Robert does, in the most part on afternoons, then, maybe moving that car. I know we talked about some different hours and working with the agency, but I didn't know if that's something the village wants to do. Again, I just want to have good, solid numbers, that present to the village to make sure that everything's getting addressed that needs to be. So,
Okay, does anyone feel comfortable leaving the car on midnights?
What we're considering, I was, talking back and forth with Lieutenant Pearson, the current numbers that he's going off of right now for the midnight shift, the midnight deputy was on vacation for 2 weeks, so it isn't totally an apples to apples comparison. But what we were thinking was that maybe if we do like 3 months with the midnight shift, so that we have a 3-month stint, and then we could take the midnight shift and move it to days. So then we can have 3 months on midnight and 3 months on days, and then we can do the comparison to see how many, what the figures actually show.
Did you use any of the historical data that you have?
Yeah, that's what we were looking off of, was based off of call volumes and everything.
So what month are we in now?
We are in month 2.
yeah.
So one more month and you're going to review?
Yeah, 1 more month.
Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more proactive stuff, right? So obviously, if he's doing his job, make sure stuff's not getting broken into, the neighborhoods are patrolled, things like that. The drunk drivers, no matter if it's January or August, are still going to be out there, right? People driving without licenses, those guys are still going to be out there, or girls, 24/7. So that's some of the stuff that I would like to see increase as well. So, cold weather, not call volume wise, I'd like to see that proactivity step up a little bit more. So.
Okay, it looks like another month, and then if you want to reach back and let us know when you're formatting the schedule.
Okay.
Because you said it was a 20-day cycle?
28 days, yeah.
28 days, okay. All right, great.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say while we're on the time too, I just wanted to give credit to Deputy Robert. He's been getting a lot of good feedback from residents in the village. They've been really happy to see him over at New Haven Elementary, and he always is making a point to be there for when they're letting the kids out. And he's also been interacting with the community as well, handing out stickers and whatnot. And so it's been getting some really good feedback.
Brian, are we going to meet again then as a committee?
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. When we get we'll give it until the end of November, and then the committee can regroup. We can we'll get with Jeff to get the numbers, and then we can regroup and make that determination.
Okay.
So how quickly can you get the figures for, let's say, if we would meet at the end of November, for the month of November? How quickly do you generate that kind of data?
Daily.
Daily?
Everything that we do is electronic. So
Okay.
I'm not good at always getting it. I have to rely on the computer guys to get it for me. But yeah, it's daily. Everything they do is automatically generated with a number. We just kind of compile them and then break them down to what they're actually doing. So.
Anyone else? Okay, the text email blast ability to our website, we have a quote in front of you from Revise. It's an extra $900 a year, and that would give us the ability to send out text messages or blasts or any kind of village emergency, like a water alert, or any other information that we feel would be pertinent to the residents as soon as possible. I talked to Revise. The residents would put their own information on the site and they'd be able to delete their own information or update it. We would not be responsible for it. But for $900 a year, I think it's a great module to add to our website.
Would there be somewhere on the website where they would know to go click to do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, we had removed it, since we weren't using the module, but I believe it was, front and center, right under the rotating images.
Okay. Is it for emergency uses only? Or is it going to be for activities as well?
That's probably only for emergencies. If school lets out early, snow emergencies, boil water alerts, God forbid a train derailment. If the trains are doing the old 4 hours parked in front of on Main Street again. I don't see that it would be necessary to send a text message out for any festivals or events. This would be for emergency notification. Now, if there's enough interest at some point, the residents say, well, geez, I'd like to know, when trunk or treat's going to be, then that could certainly be added. But I think for right now, just the ability to get the information out to our residents, bad weather. We're taking down one weather siren. So this would kind of replace what they did. So it would be for emergencies.
If I think of what Lennox Township has too, if it's similar to setup, I think, if I remember correctly, I think Lennox, you guys had the ability of like the emergencies, but then I think there were other categories you could select to subscribe to. And if we do have the ability to do that with this system, then maybe we could consider doing,
You'd have to talk to Jen about that. You'd have to maintain it.
whether or not. Yep.
And that was another question, who's going to maintain it?
It would be our website where we're misrouted. But again, the residents can put their own information, they update their own information, and they can delete their own information. She will not be responsible for that.
Right, we understand that. So where is she getting the information?
Probably the fire chief or the administrator, or, just like we say, please post on the sites, it would be the same thing.
Well, I think last month when we, wasn't that was one of the items, right? Was we had the emergency notification policy. So I think once we get that policy drafted, that, says if there's an emergency, this is the steps that we take. One of the steps would be then, who has the authority to notify Jen that this needs to be updated and communicated out.
I would just like to see some type of policy,
Something.
process in writing. Does anybody object to putting like a due date on that?
I don't object to it.
To present the policy or to bring in the policy to council?
Yeah, is that something that possibly we could have a policy written for next month to review and then maybe put in place the following month?
Isn't that on there? I thought I saw it on there. Just last month.
What's that?
Emergency policy. I thought that was just
It was
last
under
month.
the water restriction.
Yes, you're right, it was under the water.
Oh, right.
Yeah, communications for water restriction notice.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea for us to have it. I don't remember who it was that was going to write it. I can take a stab at it if you guys want.
Sure.
I would just like to,
So we have some to review.
if we could try to moving forward, like set timelines on things.
Yeah.
So that means you don't want to approve the email blast?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, so this is
That's
the
not what I'm
hinge to that, is not
Yes,
dependent.
because we can vote on this, but how do I know it's going to get implemented? Would be, so if we have a policy or a procedure, then everybody gets a little assignment and everybody does their assignment and then it happens instead of spending $900 and not using it.
Yep. I'll have the policy drafted for you guys for the November 8th.
Okay, if you need help, I will help you. Just let me know.
Yeah.
Any other questions or concerns? Do we have a motion?
Make a motion that we accept the quote from Revise in the price of $900 per year for the alert system.
Support.
Roll call?
Trustee Meissen,
Yes.
Trustee Bukowski?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
Trustee Burkholder?
Yes.
And President Pridemore?
Yes. Okay, I asked Supervisor Dilbert to try and get some quotes for the heating and cooling for the community center. If you all remember, when our building inspector went through, he said that the heating and cooling units needed to be replaced. They're pretty rusty. He did get one quote, so we do have a figure in front of us of $24,685. It's installing two 90,000 BTU two-stage temp star furnaces and two air conditioning packages. Our building inspector at the time recommended that we have two separate units, not just one for the building. So that's what we got the quote on. And it's installation, programming, permitting, and 3-year labor warranty and a 10-year compressor warranty. So what are your thoughts?
I think we need more than one estimate. Maybe we could start. Do we know, are there any more coming?
Yeah, there's supposed to be a few more coming. but,
Okay.
You know, the time frame was kind of.
Right.
And I think Visionary, this is the one that just did the work for the food pantry.
Yes.
So I think, if I remember correct, I mean, I still agree probably it would be good to have multiple quotes, especially since we're going into the winter. It's not like it's going to be used right away. But I think they were a pretty competitive quote when we did it for the food pantry.
Do I have a motion to table until we get other quotes?
I'll move that we table the heating and cooling for the community center until we get more quotes.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I think 24,000 kind of gives us to a ballpark figure of what we can expect. Treasurer's position, it's just a real quick reminder. We've got until October 28th if you want to file as a write-in for the treasurer's position. Unfortunately, our treasurer will be leaving us in December, and thank you so much for the great job you've done for the past 2 years. We really appreciate it, really do. Also, if we do want to make, if the thought is to make the treasurer's position permanently appointed, if that ever comes to the table, it's 45 days before it takes effect. So that's also just additional information. The community dinner, any more information on that?
So we're working with Lennox Township. We're trying to get the high school reserved for the community dinner. We had originally tried to go with the admin building, but it didn't really seem like that was going to work out. So once we get the confirmation that we're good to go with the high school, then we should be locked and loaded and ready to go. I know that Ms. Gurley has already secured turkeys, and we have an offer for pies from Haven Place through Ashet's. So
Miss Gurley and turkeys.
So everything's moving right along.
Okay, great, thank you. The Michigan Municipal League grant, the New Haven Community Development Fund did receive the $500 grant for the adaptive playground module. It's a swing that will enable children in wheelchairs to be able to use the swing set. And I want to thank all the residents that voted, because we were one of 5 grants that were granted by the Michigan Municipal League. So congratulations to our community for coming together and getting a $500 grant. Now we do still have a fund balance in the New Haven Community Development Fund of about $775. So this will give us approximately $1,275. We will be receiving a check that will be dedicated specifically to the swing. The swing is running about $750. The last time I looked at 2 different websites that deal with the adaptive modules, but we do have extra funding. So when we get the check and when we purchase the swing, and they asked for a date for the installation, and I told them it would probably be around June 1st, maybe, when the kids get out of school. But at some point, if council feels like matching the funds, the $1,200, putting in an additional $1,200, we would have $2,400, $2,400, a little more, and we would be able to buy another adaptive module, either a play wall or just something else to have the kids be able to be engaged with other children at the playscape. So when the money comes in, maybe council would like to talk about matching the funds, and we can lock into getting one more module for our playscape. Right now, our playground is not ADA compliant, so Parks and Rec is going to have to take a look at it, and I've already talked to the young ladies at Parks and Rec, and I think we're all kind of excited about the new community center and the additions to the park. So, but that's, we're getting the $500 check, and should be asking for matching funding. Budget workshop schedule, is it too soon to think about it? Nope.
When we,
It was November last year? Okay. So possibly the week before the council meeting, the week after the council meeting. What is the date of the next council meeting in November again?
it's on the
8th?
election day,
Yeah, the 8th? Okay. So does anyone have any availability the following week?
I will be in the woods all week.
Oh, well. How about the week after?
Week after.
Okay.
Till the 22nd?
How many days before Thanksgiving is there?
2.
No. No.
do you want to do the week of the 28th?
So the 29th?
Well, does it have to be a Tuesday?
Or the Monday or the Tuesday?
It could be a Monday. So what's it, Monday?
Monday the 28th?
And 6:30?
That works for me.
Okay. Monday the 28th at 6:30.
Will Sandy be able to attend that? I think it would be a,
You'd have to talk to her. We'll find out.
okay, are you saying you want me to ask her if
Right.
she would attend, or?
We'll find out.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I think she handles our budget, so if she's not going to be there, I'm not sure that would make sense.
We'll talk to her. Street committee meeting has been traffic sign town hall. I had a couple of residents reach out to me and like to know if you're scheduling the town hall and what information you found out.
Yeah, so far I've reached out to Pembroke HOA and been trying to get them to iron out, meet with them. Haven't been getting too much feedback from them yet, so just need to iron out a date. Hopefully, maybe like in November we can get together and have that town hall.
Okay. And did you review the fire code that triggered the signs to begin with?
Yeah. So
did we find a way to work with that?
So that was the other thing I wanted to talk to Attorney Gaddis. I will get with our attorney to see if there's any way that we can add an amendment about the fire code.
The fire code is state law, right?
Most of it, yeah. I
Okay.
can't think of much we have on our own.
So that's not subject to council approval because of state law?
I'm not so sure that we can't do certain things with it,
Okay.
outside of the code itself to achieve whatever it is, but if we're gonna have that meeting, we'll have it and we'll see what we can do.
Cool. Okay, thanks. Tax reimbursement, you have a list in front of you of, Rachel, you want to explain that this is overpayment of taxes?
So taxes get paid out of escrow, and sometimes there's houses that are in the middle of a sale that have already paid the taxes on escrow, or refinances that get paid double. So these, after everything is submitted to the county for reconciliation, we found 14 this time that were double paid. So this is just reimbursing these escrows back to these mortgage companies. It happens every year.
And this, excuse me, 14 parcels totaling $12,431.76.
Yes.
Are there any questions? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to refund the taxes to the tune of $12,431.76.
Support.
Roll call?
Trustee Bonkowski?
Yes.
Trustee Meisen?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
Trustee Capoli?
Yes.
President Pryler?
Yes. Item K, salt spreader. Marcus, you want to come up and talk about this?
Good afternoon, or evening, I should say. We took our truck over to Ballard's, which we always do, to get our MDOT maintenance on and get our yearly stickers. In doing so, the mechanics over there, I'm sorry, tired. Mechanics over there were going through the whole truck, and the salt spreader actually was kind of crumbling. It's in bad shape. It's getting eaten away by the salt, and those are old steel salt spreaders, metal salt spreaders that they don't even use anymore. Everything's stainless steel. So I was talking to Mr. Ballard, and he gave me a quote on replacing the salt spreader. They will order it for us, install it for us, therefore. So I presented this, it was last minute, but we talked today, just trying to get things done. In the future, I'm going to be coming to you guys for new trucks, but right now we got to do what we got to do because the trucks are 1 to 2 years out. So we have to take care of what we got right now. So in saying that, just asking for $6,000 to get this new salt spreader, which is stainless steel, and also when we get our new trucks, I'm gonna try to add this into our new truck and take a salt spreader off the old truck. Or the new truck, take the new salt spreader off the new truck and put this on. So we won't be buying a new salt spreader with our trucks.
My only question is, what do you mean, try? Do you think you'll be able to?
Excuse me?
My only question is, you said try.
As far as, they're retrofit, so they'll work. All the trucks are the same size, yeah.
Okay.
It's not sorry, I misspoke.
Okay, no problem, I just wanted to,
No.
I was gonna say, well, if we're gonna paint, maybe look at a different way to go.
No, this is an international 7-yard dump truck. These are the big trucks that, you see the belly blades scraping snow, salting the streets, and they're all the same size.
Were we able to get quotes from any other company, or does Joe Ballard usually?
They do all our MDOT maintenance. We did send the truck down to a company, and we started this journey 3 months ago, and they still hadn't said anything or did anything, and I contacted across the street, and within 2 days, I had answers, so.
Anyone have any other questions?
Yeah, I mean, I know we normally would ask for multiple quotes, but I think in this case, with it only being 6,000, I mean, and it's Joe Baylor across the street, I mean, this is a, trusted partner of the village. I would be willing, I'm willing to make the motion of approving the quote from Joe Baylor in the amount of $6,000 for the stainless steel salt spreader and the labor.
Are the dollars coming out of your budget or the general budget? Are they coming out of DPW's budget?
DPW.
And you have,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah, this was kind of the street way.
Yeah.
okay.
Any other questions? I have a motion.
Yeah, motion
Support?
and support.
Okay. Roll call?
Trustee Meisen?
Yes.
Trustee Capoli?
Yes.
Trustee Bukowski?
Yes,
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
President Pryler?
Yes.
Thank you.
if I could just ask Marcus a question, you
Yes,
said
ma'am.
something about trucks. Could we, when do you want to start talking about, how we're gonna get there?
Next month.
Okay,
I got the complete quotes. It's been a long process. When you get a truck, a big truck, it's not from a chassis to this, to this, to this. It's gonna be a stack of papers.
okay.
So it's gonna be plenty of reading.
Yeah, that's part of our capital improvement
Yes,
plan.
yes,
Anyway,
ma'am.
more-
Yeah.
But
we started the
that's where I
capital
was going
improvement,
next,
so-
yep.
Yeah, we started the capital improvement, and it's been a process of getting everything together to make sure you're crossing everything, getting everything done, crossing your T's, dotting your I's. So,
Thank you.
And yearly, I've been asking DPW, the fire department, and the office staff to make a wish list
yeah,
of processes or equipment we
Yeah.
might need. So it's time to update. I told you it's time to update the wish list.
Thank you.
yeah, no problem.
Chief?
Good evening. The exhaust system for the fire department, which hooks up to each one of our trucks, is in need of some repair. As we're going through our sustainability and reliability of all of our equipment, and we came across this, so we reached out to 3 companies. Only one of them was able to give us a quote of the $6,025 to get the exhaust system up and running. Some of it's crumbled upstairs, so it's kind of a mess right now in a shambles. So we're trying to get this done before our big inspection at the end of November.
Can you tell us what the exhaust system does?
It hooks up to the exhaust tips of every one of our vehicles and then shoots everything outside as they run before they leave the building. This was installed back when the building was new, when we moved back in 06. So it's time for a little bit of maintenance.
Was there an issue with the original installation? Did the guys say there was?
As far as Lieutenant Wagner, I think we were having a discussion with, and the guy that came out and did the inspection said that, yeah, some of the stuff that was installed properly. So we're here to bring that up to code.
It was installed improperly or properly?
Correct and properly.
Improperly.
According to that guy, I don't know anything about the system itself. It was installed improperly. So we're here to bring it up to snuff.
Is this something that could be moved to a different location if you happen to have to move?
With a lot of retrofit, I would think, but I'm sure that cost would exceed the cost of a new setup.
Okay.
Good question.
Any other questions or concerns, comments?
So 8 weeks assessed, so what are you doing in the meantime?
It's broken.
Venting the doors, cracking the doors?
It's summertime, so it's, the doors are prepared, but yeah, winter's coming, so we're looking to get this on the books now.
Make a motion that we approve the quote from F&M Mechanical Services LLP in the amount of $6,025.
Support.
Roll call.
Trustee Meisler?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
Trustee Foley?
Yes.
Trustee Bukowski?
Yes.
President Feinberg.
Yes. Unfinished business, the allowable spending ordinance. Last month we talked about increasing the amount of allowable spending up to $4,000. We've had some expenditures that were below that amount, but they had to wait weeks for a council to get authorization. We talked about making, giving either like the fire chief and the DPW supervisor the ability to be able to get quotes and expend the money. So the language was, the village president shall act as a designated purchasing agent of the village unless the village council by a majority resolution designates additional persons to act as the purchasing agent. So we have the authority later on if we want to say, we want to give the DPW supervisor the authority. We could do that by resolution. Did everyone have time to review it? Okay, got comments or questions?
The only comment I have on there is, I know when we talked about it last time, we all agreed to do the spending limit increase and to name the DPW supervisor and the fire chief as purchasing agent. But I see no less than 6 other language changes in the ordinance, including completely expanding one of the sections, section 8, I think. And that's not something that we agreed to.
Okay, read it. Can you read it? The payment of recurring bills, that's copied verbatim from the ordinance that we have.
Where? Which one?
Are you talking about section 8, payment of recurring bills?
Yeah?
That's verbatim from the ordinance I copied. Did I have an old copy of an ordinance?
This is our ordinance, it's one paragraph. What we have now, and this is an entire section.
You know what, this is, again, the copy of the ordinance that I have, this is verbatim, it
Yeah.
hasn't changed.
That's not what's in the file.
Okay,
I mean, you go from
I pulled this
that.
out of the file, did we have an old copy in the file?
This one was 2009.
That is an old copy. Okay,
That's when that ordinance was
That's
passed.
the date on the one you get.
When was the spending ordinance updated since then?
I think it was 2007. It was, I pulled it from the drawer, it must have been an old copy, because
Okay.
I did copy that verbatim. The only thing I changed was the amount, and then by resolution, we can designate additional personnel.
So are we voting on this then? Or,
Oh, we can certainly bring this back. We will bring this back and we will amend it to reflect the newest, yeah.
so can we also get a copy of the existing
The old-
ordinance too? Because that's, I have this one here.
Okay, that's probably the newest one. Yeah, I thought it was kind of a long-winded section 8, but I just copied it. Yes, certainly do I have a motion to table this until next month, and we can update it to reflect the latest language.
So moved.
Sorry.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Who supported that?
Tracy, please. The training policy for, the draft training policy and draft mileage reimbursement policy. We've got the draft in front of you, review it. I'm only going to ask you if there are any additions or changes. Let us know. I excluded the fire department from the one policy because they have the mileage and reimbursement, the per diem policy, because they're different. They do go out of state. And there was going to be a separate reimbursement policy for the fire department. When they go up for training, occasionally they'll put $30 cash into a communal pot, and that will pay for, the meals for the week. And there's no receipts there, it's cash. So do we want to just incorporate the fire department with all of these different caveats, or do we want a separate standalone reimbursement mileage policy for the fire department?
But I think, like I said in my email, to you, is that, if we just remove, we could really just say upon prior authorization, reimbursements will be allowed to, for training outside the state of Michigan. Is it going to be, do I ever see a situation where it might happen that somebody on council or somebody on Parks and Rec committee might go out of state? I don't know.
You want to go to Vegas?
Well, no, but
It's out of state.
there might be something in Ohio, or maybe there's something, who knows? There could be some exceptions to this. Personally, I was in favor of just making it more open to just saying, anybody within that's allowed to do the reimbursement would have the ability to do out-of-state reimbursements.
I think that kind of leaves us wide open. I would rather restrict training to the state of Michigan when possible. Because again, and we've seen it in other communities, like Detroit, they went to Hawaii. Of course it wouldn't happen here. But I think the expectation for the employee is, I've got training in Michigan, and the policy says Michigan. But if the majority of you feel we could just have anybody blanket go out of state, we could say possibly adjoining states. We could add that for training.
I would like to see this within the state of Michigan removed altogether.
Okay.
I think I'm piggybacking what Brian says a little bit. So, we have to deal with a lot of federal things. Well, any conferences or things like that at a federal level are typically held in DC. So that's not an adjoining state.
Do you see anybody here, this village paying for someone to go to DC?
Well, to be honest with you, I went on behalf of our school district to DC several
This is the
times.
school
So it's
district.
like, that's an example. And there may be an opportunity.
Again, this is, I would like to in its infancy, restricted to either Michigan or adjoining states.
And Toledo is closer than Traverse City.
That's what I'm saying, adjoining
So-
states. That's what I'm saying, adjoining states.
I think within the state of Michigan should just be removed altogether.
Okay.
I'm not saying people are gonna go to DC, I'm not saying people are going to Hawaii. I think it's irrelevant. It's, like, what is the goal of having it say state of Michigan? Do you feel like somebody's gonna cheat the system? Is that what you're concerned
No,
about?
but what I've seen is a lot of classes, and I've been taking classes and going to classes a long time, they're all in the state of Michigan because they pertain to Michigan. They pertain to mostly state law, and if there is federal instruction, like on grants, that's over in Zoom meetings. Everything I've had with the National League of Cities, which is down in Washington, is a Zoom meeting. We do have the ability for Zoom meetings. You know, and call me highly suspicious, but I'd like to ensure that we're not putting the taxpayers' dollars up for trips. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Well,
it's-
I think we have to take the word trip out of the conversation, because it's not a social trip.
Well, we say that, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So if somebody's going to training, it's not a trip, it's training, it's education.
Okay,
So I think that piece has to be taken
Well-
out. That's my opinion.
okay.
And also Brian mentioned, it's prior approved,
Mhm.
correct?
Yep.
So
anything outside
if
of
I
that.
came here and said, you guys, I want to go to Hawaii, I'm on the Parks and Rec Committee and I want to go to Hawaii, I would hope that every single one of you would go, really, you want to go to Hawaii?
When
On
we
your
get
own
done,
dime.
when we get done laughing at you, then we would actually decline.
Right, so I think,
And then the employee comes up and says, well, it says Eddie's staying.
but
There's no
we
limit.
said with prior approval, and
Right, but they come back and say, well, it says. You didn't put a geographical limitation on it. So what's your response with that?
So what I did on my notes here is I put, in addition to training in the state, when, unless it's not offered or available in the state. So if there is that type of training in the state, they have to go to
There you
Michigan.
go.
It's available in the state.
You know, if it is a federal thing where it's something that's only done in DC, well then now if you add that line to it, it opens that up. And I don't,
Or
unless.
can we add virtually to that too?
I wanna-
Or available virtually?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Whatever.
I also want to put a quick caveat on it. When there are things like that out of state, the associations have scholarship opportunities. So most of those trips didn't cost any of our taxpayers money because they were all on scholarships.
Have we ever done that?
Well, you didn't want to use my past experience, but I'm
School
just saying.
board?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was on scholarship. And we have those opportunities too with the Michigan Municipal League.
Right.
So,
Have we done that?
pardon?
Um,
So, just trying to keep it a little bit simpler, but Mario, I agree, I like that.
Okay.
I just don't want to see, I'd like to see personally, everybody under the same umbrella, not, okay, so the fire department's going to have their own rules. Well, next, we're going to have office staff has a separate set of rules, and then DPW has a separate set of
Right,
rules.
if you add that language in there, you don't need the restriction because if the fire department has training that's out of state that is only available there, that's
There you
still
go.
open. But one of the things that we talked about, I don't know, I may have missed it, but it said that we would have, it would be council approved, and I don't see that in the policy though, unless I missed it.
So one of the other,
Do you want council to approve it? Well, you mean like if somebody puts in for a class, let's say to Chicago, which is adjoining, do you want approval for that to wait until the council meeting? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that that's what we talked about, that it would be
But
approved.
is that what you're saying though? Yeah, make it for a council
Sure.
to approve it.
Yeah, I think they should all approve it.
Especially if we're talking about out of state.
And it's 30 days, there's a 30-day notice, so that would be, okay.
Well, in addition to that, it gives an opportunity because, you're probably not gonna like this, but, you know, not everyone has expendable funds. But sometimes these conferences cost money that maybe our staff or some of us may not have the funds to put up front. And then when they get approval, then that allows the village to pay for it
Oh, yeah.
in advance, separate, okay.
Sure.
And do we have that in that policy?
No, we were talking about reimbursement
Right.
originally. So it's
Right.
not in the policy, do you want to add it?
I I think that,
Does everyone agree with this, or? That we pay for, if somebody has like $900 to go to an MML conference in Grayling, employee puts in for it, comes up in front of council, we can approve to pay it for the employee. Okay. And that, hope they have the money, get them reimbursed. Okay.
I know you wanted to wait until they went to prove that they
No,
went.
that's what we used to do when I was on the pension board in the Shores. They paid for the conventions, and then we were responsible for anything past the per diem.
Correct,
So,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I want to back up. Before you said you had to concern, you want to make sure people were participating. And yes, I agree, we should make sure people are participating. And if they're not, I think maybe just a note in their employee record that, they previously let them go and they did not attend. And that allows us to maybe not.
But if we pay for it and they don't attend, they should be on the hook for it.
Well, that's where also too, my employers ask for certificate of completion to put in their file.
Yeah, it has to be proof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
proof of it.
Yeah.
But if this policy doesn't say that they have to pay it back, we cannot make them pay it back.
Well, that's why we have to ask.
Okay.
Failure to attend the event paid with municipal funds must be reimbursed by the employee.
Good.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the only other thing I have on my notes is just a housekeeping thing, but I would remove number 6, where it talks about mileage. And instead of having the language for it, have it refer to the mileage policy. So when the mileage policy changes, so will this automatically. Otherwise, you can get into a thing where we change the one and not this one. Now you got two conflicting.
Now, I was thinking, should we just incorporate this into one policy?
Well, and that's what I was, it's kind of confusing because you're flipping back and forth
Yeah.
when we're reading this, and in the one policy for the mileage reimbursement, it says that employees will be reimbursed for the cost of food while in attendance. But then in the training policy, it says the employees are responsible for their own.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So maybe we should merge them.
You run into that situation where you just refer to them, then you don't have it.
So maybe we should merge these and make it just an employee training policy that will include mileage reimbursement and.
Yes, the only thing is the mileage would be, for example, let's say you sent Marcus to St. Clair Shores to pick something up, that doesn't fall under the education.
Right, that is kind of a separate deal.
Yeah, we could make the mileage separate, but not the per diem reimbursement, not the
because
reimbursement.
the way I kind of interpret both of these is that you have your training and mileage reimbursement for training, seminars, conventions.
And then
right?
there's just mileage reimbursement.
Right, and then there is a separate just, like you have your clerical staff for biannual mileage reimbursement to the post office.
Or I go to
trips.
some COG meetings up in Fort Huron or
Some of
Dearborn.
them, right, yeah, those are just other different types of,
Okay,
they're
so-
not necessarily training though, they're just,
Okay, so just a separate mileage for day-to-day.
but I would strip, from the mileage reimbursement policy, I would strip all the references about training and seminars and conventions.
Okay.
B2.
And I looked it up, I could not find an existing mileage policy because we do have personnel putting in for mileage when they go to the post office. They do it twice a year. And I looked and I cannot find any existing policy on mileage. Is anybody aware of one? Okay.
Are we talking about both of them in conjunction right now, or no? We're going to
We're going to merge them, but just have a separate mileage policy for day-to-day work. Like the girls going to the post office or, a council person going to Dearborn, sort of thing.
Okay.
But the training that's assumed that they're going to be away somewhere. So we can incorporate mileage and reimbursement. Now, the question is, again, we want receipts for everything. But we had an incident where the fire department goes out there, they just give them $30 cash into a kitty to pay for food for the week. How do we reimburse something that's paid cash?
So you can do it two ways. You can do it as a per diem amount of meals per day, or you can do reimbursable expenses. But I don't think.
But reimbursable expenses, you have to have documentation.
That's why I'm saying, if like the fire department's going somewhere, you can give them a per diem of $40 for the day, and then they don't have to submit any receipts.
Okay.
And that would be per person,
Yeah.
right? So then if they combine the per diem and then throw it in the pool.
Okay.
So we'll give them a per diem.
That's what I would suggest.
Okay.
Which is, I think, what we had in here anyway, right? about having per diems.
Yeah, the thing what kind of threw me for a loop was them paying cash for something, but if we give them the per diem, yeah, that could be, that could just be it. So we could merge them into the training policy. Any other suggestions? There's some good stuff here.
Just so I'm clear, the food, the per diem will go into the training policy, or will it be in the mileage policy?
No, it'll be in the training
So
policy.
we're gonna
because
move it?
Yeah,
Because
we
it's
wouldn't
in
give a per
mileage.
diem for somebody going to the post office.
Okay.
I don't know, it's
Take
far.
that.
It is far. If you have to walk, it is very far. But you know what, I can again, amend the draft that we have and shoot it back out to everybody, review it, and if you have any tweaks on it, you know, just shoot them back, and we can always put the suggestions in parentheses or italicized, and then I can shoot a copy out for review, and you know, we can get this thing buttoned down.
The last note I have was, if we're doing that, then is where you have, over here where it says, current standard mileage rate set by the IRS. I think the language is maximum allowable reimbursement rate set by the IRS, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the,
Is that really, because I looked it up, it just said the current IRS approved rate is 60.
You're approved to reimburse up to that amount, but you don't have to reimburse that amount. I used to work for a company that would pay you 10 cents under the allowable IRS rate, and then you would have to claim the rest of that in your taxes.
Seriously.
Let's just.
Yeah, let's just keep it, because it's wear and tear on the vehicle, your tires, you know. Really, 10 cents under? Wow.
They were cheap, I don't
I was
know.
gonna say, that's pretty.
That's strange.
And it's the correct verbiage according to the IRS.
We're speaking of the mileage one
Sure.
in tandem, correct?
Yeah.
Right? So there's a piece here, it says, cars, trucks, and vans, as long as they are registered to the individual making the claim. I think that needs to be removed.
If you rent a vehicle?
No, the term personal vehicle can include cars, trucks, and vans as long as they are registered to the individual making the claim.
Yeah, but if I take my mom's car, it's not registered.
That's right, that needs to be
Okay.
removed.
I just copied language from other
No
places, from other places, so. Okay, so remove registered to. I think the one website that I checked was university, and they had that included in there, but they allowed exceptions for university vehicles. So it's like it's hard to find policies that you could steal from. Any other suggestions off the top of your head that we could shoot an amended copy of? Okay, I'll work on another draft, and I'm going to add these, but if you have any other suggestions that you think of, shoot them to me. I can amend the draft, put them in italics, and then shoot it back out to everybody so you can see what the recommended change was, okay? But I think this is a pretty tight policy the way it is. It'll be pretty tight. Okay. Wow, we're up to the call from the floor. Okay. We're like,
We're buying it done.
sweet. Call from the floor. Call from the table.
Do you want to say something, Mr. Addis, before I say something?
What you're going to say? About Justin? No, I'd be happy. I have here Justin, and we talked about how to pronounce his name. I would put a little extra to it, but he says, is it Majewski you use? See, I go, that's different. Justin's been with our firm, you're gonna have to tell me how long now.
Oh,
It's gotta be close to a year.
as an attorney, it's been
Yeah.
over a year,
Okay.
but I clerked for the firm since 2019, so.
All right, and much of the work you've seen out of us was his in the first place. Okay? But he took, before he has a license, we can't put his name on it because it's the illegal way. Justin is extremely adept at appeals and difficult motions and the difficult type of lawsuit that the Raven has on the building, which he's worked extensively on, including the appeal. And he finally got free. He had to get married, he had to He'd buy a house.
You took time off to get
refurbish a
married.
house, and then he had to go, and I was wondering why you guys kept picking on Hawaii, because then he went to Hawaii for a month for his interview.
Did the firm pay for it?
No, we did not.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't know, maybe.
We don't have the right kind of policy in place.
We kinda got away
Got the wrong
with
habit.
something now. Judy misses some of those things. But we kept promising he's not a mirage. You had a different word for it.
Mythological.
He's not mythological,
Mythological.
he's real, and he's here. And he will be available to you more and more often. Just call the office and ask for Justin. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Okay, thank you.
So if we have questions, should we continue to reach out to you
You
via
can-
email?
You can
Or should
email,
we-
the best way is to email us both
All right.
on the same email, that way it never gets dropped.
Can you send us an
Can you send
email?
us an email?
So we'll have your email? Yeah. Great.
Absolutely.
H2. Oh, Nicole.
Thank you.
You know,
Nice.
I just have two things. You were gonna write a letter to the about the building, did that?
I did, and I was gonna talk about that, but go ahead.
Okay, I'll wait then. The community center, so that sale went off well, I heard, and that's all set.
Yes.
So do we have a plan, or is there a group that's gonna make a plan? What's the plan for the community
I
center?
already talked to the Parks and Rec staff,
Okay,
and they're very excited to get in there and come up with new projects. And I have to talk to Mr. Reeder about Lennox Township passing a resolution that endorses the Village of New Haven putting in for a mural for the building for the Detroit Institute of Arts. Amazingly enough, a village can't put in a request for a mural from an artist with the Detroit Institute of Arts. A resolution has to come from the township. So I'm going to format one of those and shoot it over to you, and we're going to try.
okay.
So we're going to try that out.
So I guess I'll expand my question. That's great that Parks and Recs is coming up with ideas. You mean like parties and things? Is that what you mean? Okay.
Or just arts and crafts or dances or something.
Okay. All right, so the heating and cooling needs done. I mean, the condition of the building, like where does it stand? What needs to be done? How is it gonna happen? Does it get clean? Where's the building stand?
There's three of us going through it now. The Lions Club literally,
The three of us
Which
is
one you talking about, the Lions Club or the community center?
the
well,
Lions.
we're going to have to start calling the Lions Club the community center.
Okay.
The community center is probably going to end up being the senior center, depending on how council feels about it. We can get funding for it. Right now, this is brand new. We only closed on it a week and a half ago. And I want to thank you for putting the task of coming up with a purchase agreement on me. I appreciate that. I learned a lesson there. But yeah, what we're doing is the heating and cooling, if you looked at Dave Collins' building report.
I remember that.
Yeah,
Yep, I
that
got
was the
that.
only
Okay.
issue that really needed to be addressed besides the parking lot. The parking lot will have to be replaced this late in the season for that. But Miranda Marker, LaShawna Joshua, and you all volunteered to go through the building because it's going to be a village facility with mostly a Parks and Rec input on the classes or the events that are going to be held there. So they're going to go through the building with me. Marcus, did we get that key changed over? We're going to need the key here.
Yep, Alice will be in tomorrow.
Okay, great,
Change the locks.
great.
Yeah.
Well, Kate, when you do, Corinne, I'm going to be gone for a little over a week. Can he leave the key here? And then when you get a chance, you and the ladies can go through and see what's there. There's some stuff that's going to have to be thrown out. But there is original historical documents from the Lions Club in there, including when they were incorporated. And I would really like to be able to keep a wall, because it's historical, that was historically the Lions Club. Keep a wall to remind people about the great gift that the Lions Club gave us. So any historical documents, like the Articles of Incorporation, maybe we could keep on a wall on a display. I think that would be a great nod to the Lions Club.
Do they know that?
Yeah, I already talked to them about it, because when they went through the building to see what they wanted to take, I told them if you find any historical documents or photographs, we would like the ability to either copy them or take a look at them. And they found the Articles of Incorporation tucked away somewhere in a frame. It's from I think the 60s or the 40s. It's kind of faded a little. But yeah, I already talked to them about that because I wanted to make sure that we had the stuff that we wanted when they cleaned it out. because they did have the ability to go through before they sold it to us and remove what they wanted. There's still tables and chairs in there that we'll be able to use, but I don't know, to be honest with you, I don't know what all else is in there.
Have we insured the building?
Yes, I already asked our accountant to insure the building, and all the utilities have been turned over to the Village of New Haven. I handle Semco myself. So the gas is on, the electricity is on, we got our tax deferment. I brought paperwork for tax deferment for all the properties that we bought up to Lennox, so now those are tax exempt. Trying to think, is there anything else? The phone service is shut off for right now. Electricity, gas, tax deferment. I can't think of anything else that needed to be done. It's completely out of the Lions Club name. All the utilities are in the village name, and the transfer titles and everything are up at the Lennox, and they're being forwarded to the county. And we just have to go through and see what's in there. I have no clue what's in there. I'm going to bet, having watched episodes of Hoarders, there's going to be a flat cat in there somewhere. I'm pretty sure. But they did leave the tables and the chairs that we could use.
I'm more concerned about the condition of the building. I know there was conversation about the floor. So you guys are going to go through the building.
Just in the kitchen.
And then are you going to report, like, how is this going to work? What's the plan? Then you're going to report, like, these are the things that need replaced, and then we can look into it.
Well, we're going to go, the village is going to go through too, but it was just part of a couple of tiles in the kitchen that had to be replaced. Ceiling's in good shape. Exterior of the building's in good shape. The roof is relatively new. It was the HVAC system. The kitchen is, they were using it, but I think we need to go through and take a look at it. Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to go through it as the village and see if there's any liability issues as far as like the curled up stuff in the kitchen. And so we're going to have to go through and do a walkthrough if anybody wants to volunteer. Do a walkthrough through the building.
Yeah,
I can do that.
Good.
Okay, so do we want to set that up now?
Well, we have to get the keys first,
Okay,
and I'm gone for the next 10 days, so after I get back.
okay,
I'd like to make an inventory of what's in the building,
okay,
the condition of what's in the building,
okay.
photographs. So we gotta get the key first. And then we'll set the data.
I know at one point,
We just have an asset now, and I'd like us to be able to use it.
Yeah,
So we
absolutely,
need
but
to-
we have to look now at the liability, like the curled up tiles in the kitchen. Before we use it, there's stuff that has to be replaced.
Well, that's why I'm asking these questions.
Yeah, we'll go through it, we'll go through it.
and I know at one point there was a lot of complaints about unsightly weeds behind the building and whatnot. Have those already been taken care of?
I already asked him to put it on the rotation.
We already did it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know driving by it looked pretty good, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it's already on the rotation.
Cool.
But also, we have money in the American Rescue Plan funding. We have a lot of money that hasn't been dedicated yet. It can be used for recreational facilities and parks, which is why we used some of the money for the splash pad. During the budget meetings, we have to dedicate that money, the first tranche by next year, the second tranche by the year after. So we did dedicate money for the fire equipment and then the splash pad, but there's more money that has to be dedicated. So I would just kind of keep that in mind for the budget hearing.
We'll have all those figures for the budget.
And then you sent out some more information about the splash pad, so where are we at on that exactly?
She's ready to go, but right now, we had a Zoom meeting with Mr. Gilbert and Ms. Met, and she recommended that we get a quote. That quote included a 4-inch cement pad, but we are talking to who again? D&J, who did our sidewalks, about a quote of them doing the splash pad, so we can save a little money. So once, and I already told her that, according to what we discussed, we're waiting for a quote. We may be able, I don't know, it sounded like a pretty good ballpark figure, but we may be able to have D&J do the cement pad and save us some money.
And what about the recycling, though? I guess I was trying to understand, were you just asking about that for informational purposes?
Well, no, I was passing it along because we talked about doing recycling versus straight to waste.
Okay.
It would cost, according to Vicki Crawford, about another $100,000 to the initial quote, because you have to put in a tank. And I found out the state of Michigan treats a splash pad with a recycling tank, as I told you in my email, as if it were a swimming pool. Even though there's no way you're going to drown on the thing, but you have to have shower facilities. You have to have a dedicated emergency line. You have to have the water tested at least twice a day to make sure the chemicals are in balance. If they're not in balance, there's a liability issue. If it goes out of balance, let's say Friday at 4 o'clock, the system shuts down, and then it won't be available for the entire weekend.
So that was just for informational purposes? You weren't
Right.
asking for an opinion? Okay, that's all I was asking.
Yeah, just to let you know, we did our diligence, we got the information, and that's why so many communities I've talked to and that Brian talked to have it straight to waste.
Okay,
And
thank you.
for birds through the thing. But as soon as we get the quote from D&J, I'll forward the information along. Vicki said if we put 50% down, we can lock in the price and for next year. And they're about 16 weeks out on their installation, but that would put us into April, give us plenty of time because, you know, things are going to get delayed. They're having issues like everybody else for materials and manpower. So we can get on this, it's good if we can get on the schedule now and get this going. You should have to send me information on a music pavilion. It's expensive. And I told her, not right away, you want a ballpark figure. So that's something maybe further down the road because the people are interested in getting a stationary music pavilion as well. I don't know, did I forward that to you? I got it in a subsequent email, I'm not sure. I can forward it to you. Yeah. So that's the update.
That's all I got.
Excellent.
The other thing I have is, I know we talked about insurance on the building over there, but have we done anything with our insurance on this building here?
Well, yeah, let me, I shot a letter and I just got approval from our attorney on the format of the letter to, the building is insured. But there's additional damage to the building. It is separated. So, you know, and you approved $4,000 copay to move the sheriff's department over to the fire side of the building. I drafted a letter to Phoenix, to New Haven Town Center LCC, and told them that there is damage that was discovered after the initial damage, and that we are paying $16,500 a month for a whole building, not part of a building. So we do want them to get in contact with us to discuss the structural defaults and why are we paying for an entire building when we had to pay to have the sheriff's department moved to the, you know, we've got to hold the feet to the fire on this. So I did draft the letter, and apparently it's okay, and the letter will be in the mail. And we'll let you know what happens, because I object to paying, to begin with, the $16,000, and a third of the building is got orange barrels around it. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, we do insurance. Was there anything else? Anything else? Going once? Going twice? Do I have a motion?
Motion to adjourn at 8:08.
8:15.